can do now, because we're going to be looking at sort of presentation skills and pitching. So that, who's done that in the past? Who presents or pitches?
I've done a presentation course.
Okay. So there's a few. Who's absolutely terrified?
I've done it, but I was terrified.
I
still am.
don't want to do it.
For those that have done it, what was it like the first time, and does it get better?
No. Yes.
Like
I was bored. I did the first bit, and then because I asked questions,
This one?
Yeah.
It's spare, this chair.
Yeah.
And then it was a natural, I was a natural. But to start off with, I just rushed the first bit.
Yeah.
I've only done it once, and it was the scariest thing I've ever done.
Who's sort of lost the breath before, just before, or the tongue goes, the mouth goes all dry?
Yeah.
Does that happen to you?
Yeah.
Tongue just goes really dry.
I just felt
Yeah.
like it's
My
not
voice goes shaking.
Yeah.
I was like,
And I sweat, my hands start sweating.
Yeah.
So you can't remember even your own name.
Yeah, or you do it and then you come away and go, I don't know what I said, I can't remember what I did, and I don't know if I did good.
Or I remember coming off and thinking, oh, I will never do it like that again. I will just make sure I do that better, and I wish I'd have answered it that way. And why didn't I? Do you know what I mean? Why wasn't I more assertive and answered it that way? Do you know what I mean? It just didn't seem to come across how I wanted it to come across. But the feedback was completely different to what I was thinking.
Yeah. But it's always good to self-analyse yourself as well, because again, looking in those mirrors, we can always improve what we do bit by bit. So, you know, and sometimes we just our worst critic. I am my own worst critic as well. You think you see things that other people, you know, they think, well, why are you worried about that? But yeah, so what we'll do now, if everyone can stand up, because some of the ways that can really help us is, and we all know that preparation is the key, and if we prepare, but a lot of the time what we tend to do, I don't know if people, there's two different ways of preparing a pitch or a presentation. One is to write it out, and write it out, and write it out until you've got the correct kind of draft, and that's quite laborious really, isn't it? You know, it takes a lot of time to do. Or the other way that we can do it is by learning to write an outline. So we've got key points. So we're going to be looking at that in a bit. But also, what do we do about, okay, we've prepared and everything, we get up there and then our voice just goes and our breathing. Because once you get on that track, it's very difficult, isn't it? And Panya's a performer, so I don't know, Panya can share some of her experience as a performer. She tends to be very...
Yeah, well, things that I do is, if I'm starting up, but the main thing is to make sure I breathe.
Yeah.
I know that might sound silly, but when you get a bit nervous and a bit anxious, the first thing you do is like that.
Yeah.
So the first thing I do is I make sure I'm breathing. And if I'm breathing, then the oxygen's getting to my brain and then I can stay calm.
Yeah.
And even before that, I make sure I'm prepared.
Yeah.
Because if I'm prepared, then I'll feel confident in what I'm presenting. And then when I go out there, I might not necessarily look directly at people. I might look just above the tops of their heads until I feel that I've calmed down. And then I usually like to start off with a bit of a joke or something funny to get people on my side, and just to see them laugh and that they react, and then that calms me down as well. So those are some of the...
They're really key things, aren't they? Especially the breathing, for instance, because if we do that, it does relax us.
Yeah.
But do we breathe in the right way?
I breathe all my air out, and then if you breathe all your air out, literally all of your air, and don't breathe in, you naturally breathe in. And it's from your stomach as well.
Yeah.
Not from your chest.
Yeah, that's an important part. Some people don't realise that. As women, sometimes we're very concerned about our waistline. So we breathe in up here. But we're not really capturing the full amount of the air, the capacity as what we could, we can. So if we stand up, if everyone wants to stand up, sort of go into your neutral positions. We know that our neutral position is. I want you just to put your hands just underneath, because you've got your rib cage and then your lungs, and then underneath your lungs you have what you call the diaphragm. Okay? So if we're breathing properly, we should feel the diaphragm should sort of drop slightly, but we should feel all of this, our stomach should sort of puff out. So after 3, because I used to breathe, and I actually used to do it up here. because I used to think, oh well, I don't want to have a big stomach and things. And, but actually, I used to run out of it quite quickly, and then you start panicking, you know, and the quality of your sound, the voice doesn't come through as well. You don't get the right resonance, you know, of the voice. So if we can just, after 5, if we take a nice deep breath, and I want you to think about, close your eyes while you're doing it, and think about where you're filling, which parts of your lungs that you're filling. So after 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you breathe out when you want to? Could you feel your diaphragm sort of pushed down?
Yeah.
Was anyone breathing the other way before, sort of more up here? Because we lose a lot if we don't use that bit there. We've got a whole range. Our voice, you know, it's like an instrument as such, and if we train it well, you know, we can get some amazing, beautiful sounds from out of there.
Can I feel it push down? Try to push out.
Well, that your stomach, if you're there, then your stomach will push out, but your diaphragm underneath, down there. Yeah. So you can sort of feel your stomach slightly, your actual lungs start to expand. Yeah, so you should feel them come out that way, and then you feel a very light pressing of your diaphragm there. Now this time I want you to try and take a nice deep breath. Hold it for 10. Count quickly. But this time I want you to, or hold it for as long as you can, but this time when you let out the air, I want you just to hold your lips quite closely together, but not too firmly. So they're just touching. And I want you to let out the hum. Yeah? So I know some people aren't too well, so just do what you can. Don't strain yourself too much.
Don't cough this way.
Okay. But a nice deep breath after 5, and we're going to hold it for 10. And if you can't hold it for 10, then just... No, everyone will now, because they won't want to be the first one to go home. Okay. 1.
You don't have to film every single thing,
2,
just little bits.
3.